This is working finally. Sorry, everybody. Sorry I'm late. This was not working. Don't know what happened. I had to reboot my phone. Tech happens. So, is anybody here? Did anybody notice that it wasn't working? Thank you for coming. This is my Facebook Live. I'm Katie Davis. I'm the director of the Institute of Children's Literature, the Institute for Writers. Today, I want to talk about failing, the fail. You know, somebody this morning in our Facebook group said something that made me so sad. And they talked about how everybody was getting more published than they were. And I wanted to address sort of the bigger issue of that, because at this time of year, everybody's sort of assessing what they've done, what they're going to do. We make goals, we make resolutions, hate resolutions. So let's just talk about that a little bit. Well, you know, and also, by the way, Jan Fields wrote a little bit about this last week on our blog, if you want to read that. And I got a little bit of inspiration from that myself. She talked about goals. So I'm going to tell you about some of the stuff that she said too, in case you didn't see it. But I've been really into this for a long time. I mean, I created a motivation guide for people, and you can find it at writingforchildren.com/motivation. And in it, there are reward tickets and all kinds of stuff, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit. But you know, at the beginning of the year when we set all these goals, a lot of times we say, you know, I'm going to write a novel, or I'm going to finish a book, or I'm going to write every day for, 2 hours. And sometimes what we need to do instead is chop that goal into smaller pieces, so that if we can attain those smaller pieces, then we've hit our goal for the day. But if you say, I'm going to finish a book or write a novel, and you don't hit that, that feels bad. And that feels like a failure. And it's not a failure. It's normal. I mean, people do this all the time. You're not alone. And so if you say, I'm going to write for 2 hours, and you only write for an hour, or only you write for 10 minutes, or you don't write at all, that's going to feel bad too. So sit down and say, I'm going to just do this research, or I'm just going to write one page or one sentence, whatever you feel that you can really hit, and check it off. Write down your goals and then check them off as you attain them, because I heard a study one time that said that if you can cross something off a list, even if it's make a list and cross it off, that gives you an actual chemical high in your body. So I just recently downloaded a new app for my phone. I'm setting it all up because I have way too many systems to try to keep me organized. And I'm always trying new systems. I'm really hoping this one's going to work. But as far as getting things done during the day, I'm always getting things done. But sometimes we forget that too. And it's so easy to get down on ourselves. And when you be kind to yourself, it's a lot easier, all right? And you'll feel better throughout the day. You know, we can all fall into that, oh, I'm horrible, I stink, and everybody's getting published more than I am, and it's not true, okay? And one way to combat this also is to write down what we are grateful for. And the more positive you can be, the more positive you will start to feel and think. And I mean, there have been scientific studies on this, all over the place. And I'm sorry, I don't have the links to show you or anything, but I've done it myself. And the more positive, because it's fun to be snarky. I like making people laugh, and I like to be snarky, but I'm not negative online, but in my personal life, I can be really snarky. But if you're positive, you start to feel more positive, and it feels good. So just write down like one thing you're grateful for every day. Or if you can come up with more things, awesome. Do it every day. Make it a practice. I have my friend Julie Hedlund. She has a grateful practice. She does it every morning. writes down what she's grateful for. And every Sunday she has Grateful Sunday, and she puts out a whole thing about Grateful Sunday. I think that's a beautiful thing. So goals are not wishes, and wishes aren't goals, okay? Wishes, I want to be published by Harcourt or HMH, Harcourt, Hope Mifflin Harcourt, and they are. See, I was always a Harcourt person, and now it's HMH, okay? And Hope Mifflin Harcourt is the new name, new old name. Anyway, point is, if you give a goal like I want to be published by a big publisher, and it doesn't happen, that's a wish, because you don't have control over that. A goal is something you yourself have control over. So if you say, again, back to I'm going to write a novel, or I'm going to write a picture book, I'm going to finish this, you have control over that. And if you make that too big and you don't reach it, you've made this insurmountable task for yourself. So make them doable, all right? Don't set yourself out for failure. Set yourself up for failure. It's not good. So you want to have the best possible chance of getting published. Set yourself up for success by creating a daily writing habit, and you start to get that that muscle memory. So you get up when I have a specific project I'm working on. I will set my alarm. I'll get up much earlier than I normally need to, 5 or whatever. Or if you're a night owl, do it at night. Do whatever is right for you, and just keep at it. Okay, every morning at 5 or 4, I know that Andrea Davis Pinkney, she gets up at 4 in the morning. She goes to work out, she swims, and then she's writing. And she does that, and then she goes to work as an editor. So whatever you need to do. I had a friend named Linda Smith. She had 8 children. That's a lot of children. Okay, and she was working at 2 in the morning because that's when the house was quiet. So if you are really compelled to write, you will find a way to do it. All right. Now, what I was talking about before about breaking up your goal into sub goals. This is something that's really, really easy to do. So if you say I'm going to write for 2 hours, no. Say you're going to write for 10 minutes, and then keep it to whatever you feel that you can do. Okay, keep it to, I'm going to write for 10 minutes and then stop. Because if you get itchy, you get tired, you get bored, or you get frustrated, then you will fail and you want to succeed. You want to leave it when you're ahead. Then say, okay, I'm going to write for another 10 minutes later this afternoon. You sit down, you succeed. It's really tempting to want to stay past your assigned time, but I advise not to, because then you can leave when you're successful. So as you think back on your year, write down not the things you didn't succeed at, write the things down that you succeeded at. Where did you make progress? Did you write an outline? Did you write an awesome sentence? I remember going to a school visit one year, and I was doing a writing workshop with some kids, and all the kids were working really fast. It was one of these speed things where kids were passing papers around, and everyone was writing and then passing and writing and passing, and this one kid started crying. And I took him out in the hallway and I said, why are you crying? And he said, because everybody's writing all their sentences and I'm only on my first sentence. I said, well, let me see your sentence. And he gave me the paper and I read this beautiful sentence. It was incredible. And I said, this is a great sentence. I mean, even now it makes me feel, I get choked up thinking about it. I said, this is a beautiful sentence. Sentences are hard. You know, not everybody writes fast. Some people write slowly. It took me 9 years to write each of my novels, you know, and so don't put yourself down for what it takes you to do well. Okay, keep at it. You know, this is a craft. You're not learning how to do something mechanical where it's, you know, put this nut in this bolt, tighten it. This is something that takes time and writers are always learning. It's not a, you learn it and then you're done. Once I was talking to Jane Yolen and she said, yeah, every time she starts a new book, she's like, okay, this time I know how to do it. The woman's written over 300 books, okay? And every time she said, she gets into it, she's like, wait a minute. Why is this so hard? Because every time it's a different situation. So even, no matter how many times you do it, you're going to keep learning. So as you assess your year, don't count things as failures, count them as learning experiences. And as you are setting up your goals for next year, think about that and think about what you can do, and don't make them wishes, make them goals. And if you want to check out the motivation guide, it's at writingforchildren.com/motivation. And in it, there are checklists, there are reward tickets. You can make your reward tickets on your own. I mean, you don't need our motivation guide, but they're ready-made. You can fill them out so that when you've written that for 2 hours, or you can fill them out beforehand and say, when I've written for 2 hours, or when I finished a chapter or a draft, I'm whatever you feel is a good reward for you. Going out to dinner with your friends, or getting your nails done, or whatever is good for you. There's good goal setting information in it, and there's also an interactive chart to help you declutter negative beliefs, which is also really helpful. So I hope this helps you. And next week, we're going to be off. No Facebook Lives during the holiday weeks. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks, okay? And join the Facebook group, okay? Institute for Children's Literature. Of Children's Literature. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Institute of Children's Literature, Institute for Writers. Bye. Have a fabulous holiday season.